Okay, I really need to put this thing closer to my bench, but we got down to 0. Got on the amp settings. Bring it up a little bit, see if it's drawing anything. It is. It's not drawing much, actually. Put it in the lowest amp setting. And what you want to look for is if you bring up the voltage, you want to watch that needle kind of like go up and then down a little bit. Up and then down a little bit. And that's what it's doing. Now let's see what our voltages are. We're at 80 volts already, and see, if there was a major problem, this would just go, you know, through the wazoo. So I think we're actually okay. Nothing bad is happening. So let it sit there for a second. Check again. Yeah, that looks pretty happy. Let's go ahead and bring it up the rest of the way. Actually, I hear noise already.
Y el potrillo de Jalisco.
I have to tell you that it's loose.
Well,
Kojo, he's your backup point guard.
that's if Chris Paul is out. We don't know if Chris Paul's out.
right.
It works well. I'm not sure what the restoration status of this is, whether it's never been restored or has been restored or has just enough parts in it to get it going, or if it's all original. We'll find out soon enough when we take it out to look at the chassis. All right, here's a set with the back removed. I haven't worked on one of these in a little while. I do have to admit it's kind of an impressive construction quality. I'm a big Zenith fan, and I have a love-hate relationship with RCA because their CEO was kind of like the Elon Musk of that day. He was kind of ruthless and kind of nasty, and he screwed over Edwin Howard Armstrong, who was the inventor of all things, the regenerative circuit and FM, frequency modulation. A genius, literally a genius, and he screwed him over. So, I don't know, but I'm going to put that aside. This is pretty impressive. It's clean inside, which makes me wonder, has it been worked on? Usually there's a lot more dust in here. Well, here is the result of looking underneath. It is virgin. It's 100% factory original. No one's been inside of this thing since it came off the assembly line some 70 plus years ago. That's pretty amazing. And it's worked. It worked just fine. You know, I know this sounds stupid, but like if it's my own personal collection and it works perfectly fine like that, and I know how to fix it, I just leave it alone. I do enough sets for the museum that I have permanent jobs to do. Actually, I take that back. I'm looking here. That's probably a repair. You wouldn't have that crazy long resistor there. That solder job looks kind of crappy. So I take that back. But still, like 99.9% of this set is original. You've got like this one single part replaced. And again, it still works. So amazing. Now, what I'm going to do is, whoops, it is still plugged in. How lovely is that? It's a good thing it's an isolation transformer. Don't follow my my practice. That's why I have a warning at the beginning of my videos. So I'm first going to unplug the set, and then to go in and start replacing these paper capacitors. I'm going to do it in reverse. Usually I do the electrolytics first, but it's late in the day and I don't feel like dealing with that. So I'm going to start with the low-hanging fruit. We'll do the electrolytics tomorrow. All right, well, I just started the process. I replaced this one, and then I looked over here. There's one cap here. I'm trying to get the light not to make it. It says bakelized tube. Bakelized. What is that supposed to mean? That's got to mean something. I have to look that up. That cannot be a made-up word, surely. All right, I looked it up, and like the only word that comes up, and I'm not sure if this is accurate at all, is like it's related to Bakelite. But that doesn't look like Bakelite. Bakelite would be brown. Curious about this thing. I'm going to replace it because I don't trust it, but I'm curious what this thing's made out of. I bet it's just a paper cap and they put some stupid meaningless thing on there. Alright, I scraped a little bit of the coating off and it's just paper. It also says oil cap, so I'm not going to open that up because I'm not sure what that oil is. It could be PCBs, so I'm going to leave it nice and sealed. But anyway, I've got 2 caps replaced out of probably like at least 10 more. So I'll shut up and replace the rest of those. Yeah, I got most of the paper caps replaced except for this one, which looks like a real pain in the ass, which I don't feel like dealing with right now. And so I'm going to take the next low-hanging fruit, which is replacing the electrolytic capacitors, which are this thing here, up here. Oh look, it's got a capacitor stuck to it. I'll need to read the values on that to determine what goes where. Since this is a transformed set, it's obviously going to be probably 450 volt rated capacitors. Let's see. There's a square shape there, triangle here. It's like a half moon shape there. So let me look what those equal up on top of the capacitor. I read the values on the capacitor and it's 30, 30, and 40. And so, is that what it said? I can't remember. It's really bad. My memory's failing me. 30, 50, and 20. All right. And so the 2 other shapes are 350 volts, and then the triangle shape is 25 volts. So I marked that here so I remember what's the low voltage one, the triangular punch out, which is going to be the connection between this resistor and this yellow wire. So that means these other 2 are going to be the higher voltage guys. What I have on stock is 47 microfarads at 450 volts. That will be perfectly fine when it comes to electrolytic capacitors, as long as it's at or greater the capacitance and voltage. You're okay. You don't want to go crazy, like especially if it's a capacitor related to the rectifier. That can cause a little additional stress when you warm it up. Alright, so I replaced all the electrolytic capacitors, and that seemed to make a huge difference in performance, actually. This is FM, and it's very sensitive.
So without a I want to go to the point that you were bringing. But this is.
How big of an impact it has on motivating young people to either vote for Biden, stay home, or find a third-party alternative.
Okay, back to the summit. Vice President Harris is going to go.
Anyway, it sounds fantastic. Good fidelity, good sensitivity. There's one more cap to replace here. Maybe I'll get to that. We've gotten this far, and I didn't think I was going to get anything done on this tonight, but might as well. Let's dig in and get that replaced. All right, now that we've got the caps all replaced, it's time to oil a few things. We want to get the tuning condenser bearings here. It's going to make things turn a lot easier. Likewise, we want to touch up the bearings. It's just a touch of oil. That includes that one, and oh my, we have one behind the speaker too. So we get that. That guy, just a little bit. They don't want to get any on the pulley as far as the surface. Probably would be a bad idea to get this bearing surface either. There we go. Ooh, that's spinning much nicer. Yes. Anyway, I'm gonna just do a little cleaning up here, even though it's pretty clean. At least clean off the tubes a little bit. All right, now that the electronics are kind of done for now, I'm gonna go over the cabinet. It's in very good shape, but I'm actually gonna go over it with some Carnauba car wax that'll clean a lot of the grime and grit off of this from over the past 70 years. And it'll also bring back a little bit more shine, even though it's pretty shiny. Anyway, you tend to use Meguiar's cleaner wax. It's a Carnauba product. And my old socks that wear out, I used those. And then like old t-shirts are great for buffing it out. Alright, well I was able to get the cabinet to look pretty dang swanky. It's like basically factory new. Now the last thing I want to do is add audio input, which this already has in the form of a phono input. We're just going to convert it over to a, sorry, bear with me, 3.5 millimeter stereo jack. And we're going to run that through this connection here, this green wire. But we have right and left channels coming in, so I'm going to put right and left channels going through either end of these two resistors twisted together, and that will go to that connection. Now, real important note here. This has a power transformer. If this was a hot chassis set, do not do this. You need to have an isolation transformer before it. But because this has a power transformer, it's already isolated, so you can do this. Real important distinction. Alright, so we have this connected, running through a rubber grommet through the side here, and it sounds actually pretty good.
I realize now you wanna feel nothing.
Alright, so basically the electronics are done. The only thing left is I'm going to put a little spot of glue right here to keep this from moving. And then we'll put it back in the cabinet and it'll probably go swell. I didn't know I was going to get this far done this evening, but I did. It's almost done. Welcome back to day 2 of working on the RCA. I actually thought I was in the clear. I was like, holy crap, I got all that done in an evening. And I was about to, do the final touches on it. Then I noticed something. I just caught it in the sun. Let's see, where did it go? For whatever reason, someone at some point ran thumbtacks all up and down the cord. There's another one. I mean, it's probably okay. If it were my radio, I'd be like, so what? But it's not. It's going to be someone else's at some point. So I don't feel comfortable with that. I need to replace the cord, which is, I don't know. I know it'd probably be fine, but I personally wouldn't feel comfortable having holes in a cord like that. All right. Some of you guys are smarter than me, which are probably most of you guys. Explain what this is. The line AC cord comes in through these two guys. There's ferrite. It's basically graphite rods with the coil wrapped around it. The AC power is going through that. So my guess is that it's some sort of line filter, because FM is pretty sensitive, and maybe this is just a way to quieten it down just a little bit. That's my guess. You guys chime in. It is all back together again.
I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay.
So that's FM radio. It's very sensitive.
So you can get cleared to play.
But I want to know.
I thought you never asked.
This is AM.
The 10 trio. This story's in sports business.
Reed was a standout both in football.
And then this is the audio input going through the Bluetooth adapter. Anyway, that kind of does it for this episode. This went a lot easier than I thought, and I think it's been a little while since I've worked on one of these. And you guys that watch my channel enough know that I love Zenith more than anything, but this is a respectable, nice radio. I'm going to guess this probably cost more because its construction quality is quite a bit more beefy than the same era of AM FM Zenith tabletops that I've worked on that are in the same configuration, like giant speaker in the front. It's like all the manufacturers probably are like, oh, look at that, they did that, we're going to do it too, just like how manufacturers do things today. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. if you feel like leaving a comment, you can do so. I do read the comments. I'm just really bad at responding. I work on a computer all day, so when I get done at the end of the day and I'll upload one of these videos, the last thing I want to do is spend more time on a computer. But I do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.